All right, we're here at Fantasia, Horror Happens Radio, and who do I have here? So first,
Hey, how you doing? I'm Tilman Singer. I am the director and writer of Luz.
And I'm Dario Mendez Acosta, and I'm the production designer of Luz.
first, let's talk about sound.
Yeah.
Sound was so crucial from the first moment that you enter this world.
Yeah.
The idea of the sound design, how it occupies a rather empty waiting room.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, can you talk about how crucial the sound design was for the space that you had and for the project?
Yes, it's partly because sound and music is very important to me. I come from music. I did music before I did films for a long time. And it's just like it comes naturally when you do film that you understand that the sound design, the soundscape is just 50% of the movie at least.
Right.
It's so important. So with that, I really try to have the core filmmaking technique be delivered over sound because it's also very cheap. So it was a very practical approach to
Right.
what can we even do. And yes, you can do everything with sound. You can create it in a studio. You can have all the effects you want to, you know, but you can also at the same time just be in one room that's empty and have people mime it.
Ooh, on sound.
Especially with production design, because as you're sitting there creating the soundscape, you know, you've got a lot of different variables within the room, different ways it could sound, different ways that things could be executed. So anything when it came to production design?
Well, what I like, well, it's always like it's just magic what happens there. It's always. I was sitting with them when they were like mixing the sound, and it was just like I was just like 20 minutes. Then I needed to do something else. We were like finishing the film because we were invited to Berlinale, and then it was like okay, now everything needs to go really fast. And so I was like with the DOP like doing the credits and like those stuff, and they were like still making the mixing. And I was like, man, I want to be sitting here and also work on this. Like it's super fun. It's just like it's just like really pushing everything and just like a diamond, just like really.
But very practically speaking, like you had to create the booth where the interpreter is.
Right.
In.
Yeah.
So that's like a lot of things are just very practically connected to what I wrote with the sound.
Totally. But also I mean also I need to say just like the music and the sound design like totally works together like so smooth for me.
Very much.
And then later on like when I heard like the first drafts of the music and it was like jazzy and I was like I saw like the musician like 2-3 days later. Simon Vasco is his name, and I talked to him like I said like this jazzy thing. It makes so much sense for me, like to my approach of like layering time in like every aspect. You can see like mixing like different like mid-centuries. And it was and jazz made so much sense then. Like to put this on top because jazz was always there and always like changing, and it has this rhythm of like writing something.
Right.
It was just beautiful for me. Like it made so much sense.
When you go ahead and deal with the music, the soundtrack is amazing.
Thank you.
Fits in both locations very well. You talked last night about the 70s, influence of the 70s and the 90s.
Yeah.
So you're crossing over different decades and subgenres of music. How did it play last night? How do you think the score played last night, seeing it up on the screen at Fantasia? What did you think of it?
Well, okay, so last night I wasn't in the cinema, but I've watched it. Sorry.
Were you at the bar?
Sorry, I was at the bar. I was outside drinking soda.
But it felt good because someone else could be in the cinema.
Yeah, we gave us seats to people because they were turning down people. But no, I mean, of course, I've seen it in the cinema with audience. I actually didn't thought about that so clearly, but okay, since Simon, the composer, is a great friend of mine, he composed all the music, all the soundtracks to all my short films and little projects we had. So I think I write with him in mind, and I write at giving him space, you know? And also I write with, as I said yesterday, I think, like I write with a mood.
Right.
So if I write stuff, it sounds maybe stupid on the page, but if I get the right musical cue, like thinking about it, then it makes sense to me. So the script always was meant to have like at 90% of it music in it. No. So the music was always like very woven into
it was the dialogue of it.
Exactly, and also Simon gave a lot of demos to me while I was editing, and I was editing with them, and from that then he took it back. He stepped back and produced a new song with those demos. Like sometimes I gave them like a little bit like. I think in a rough cut, I put something like Tangerine Dream in the bar,
right, exactly.
Something that progresses over a long period of time, and that became that like 15-minute jazz drum thing.
Right.
At the same time, when the psychotherapist like he changes into a dress and pokes his nose, like that whole montage, that's just a demo of him like looking for a theme, looking for a musical theme. But I edited it worked perfectly. And I asked him, like, let's please not make this anything else. Like, let's just use the demo, like the change.
How do you put your fingerprint on the aspect of a demonic subgenre of horror when you're writing this? How'd you put your fingerprint on it?
That just came very natural. It started out with practical decisions. You know, the demonic possession came a little later. I thought about I got interested in hypnotherapy and interrogation or questioning under hypnosis. It turned out that it's bullshit to ask somebody for the truth while they're in trance because it's so suggestive. But it's so interesting that it was obviously a tool for evil, you know, for wrongdoing, for manipulating people. So that was then very interesting.
It works into the aspect of what the demon
is. So it works exactly. So that was just a no-brainer to then go into some supernatural. I in my mind it wasn't even supernatural. I just maybe was doing a thriller, but I was very happy to find like, oh no, you can do actually a really supernatural thing and have those demons work and manipulate her. That how it feels different because I didn't start with the genre. It became that genre.
And that's you bring up Hereditary because that's what the director Ari Aster did also. It didn't start as a horror film. It started family tragedy.
He said that in Neuchâtel. Yeah, it became that. That's true. Yeah,
it's very interesting how a lot of genre films never are straight genre, especially modern ones are not. Can you talk about the lighting for it? Because the lighting especially, you're dealing with fog, you're dealing with the aspect of a room that again has a lot of different colors. So what happened with the lighting? What's the thinking?
Again, also very practical. It's like while I was writing, I was thinking subconsciously or very consciously about what can we afford, what can we actually do, what is our cosmos, like in which I'm writing this, in which we can produce this. So my intellectual cosmos and my just like financial, abilities and what people I have to work for me. So I love neon lights, and this weird rundown police station institution came into my mind as a perfect setting and stand-in for some kind of church environment then later, and that just like, and well, of course we found this place. It was completely empty, but it had a million neon lights, and so that was so good because then you could just smoke up the whole room, have the neon lights actually on, but you get this really hazy, foggy, supernatural look. Super dark, while there's like 300 neon lights burning. It's awesome, and with neon lights, I just love it. It can mean so much. It can be scary, it can be clean, it can be neutral, it can be also very beautiful, and you just have to like bounce back. So you can do a very easy, quick setup, of lights because you got the available lights going for you. So
I was searching for a room, where there was this topic about neon lights, and there was also for me the topic of that I wanted something with wood at the wall. Like from the beginning, like okay, we will need those two things, and some more. There was like this shot from the beginning that's like really long. This was clear, like we need something like that.
Yeah, those shots linger. There's a lot of shots that you allow the viewer to just stay there for quite a while.
Oh yeah,
to understand what's going on.
Especially the first one.
Oh,
That was,
yeah,
I think I might have written that into the script, or at least I
Yeah.
gave you a note that you have to find me a place where there's a very long corridor,
Right.
like a hole directly to hell, you know, and you just leave it there, and she's like walking over that abyss basically, or in front of that abyss. So this is very suggestive to the audience to take that much time. And there's nothing going on. Then there's weird musical cues onto her just drinking. So you're not really sure what you're seeing, but you get that. Okay, yeah, this is like an abyss. It might suck her in.
I like that very much. And I thought the beyond when I was looking at the way the eyes were, the way that the location was. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of great influences
Yeah.
you talked about also last night. One of the things I found interesting was the 16 millimeter and how you said how it kind of restricted you.
Yeah.
When you shot on it, you had to really think about what you were shooting with that reel of 16 millimeter. So talk about what the 16 millimeter meant to the look of the film, but also meant to challenge you as a filmmaker.
It's very good for discipline nowadays, especially when you don't have a lot. When you have all the money in the world, it doesn't
Right.
matter. You can do just takes like Kubrick. But when you're limited, it's very good. We had like 3 takes. That's what we
Wow.
had. It's perfect. It's good for my approach of directing on set, because I like to not rehearse in advance, but rehearse on set.
Right.
Until
Be in the
the
moment.
energy is right.
Right.
And then you always have to, it's always like a little bit of a gamble. Will the next one be our thing? Is the next one our first take? Never shoot a rehearsal. It's just like, okay, now we're going. And that gives an extra energy to everybody, to the actors and to everybody, and said, okay, now we're shooting. Okay, awesome. And everybody's so just focused and in the zone. And at the same time, it makes the shot list I'm working out with the DOP very clear. Like,
Right.
and we have the edits in our head, and we're actually like, so what became then the final cut was actually very, very close to our shot list.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
super close to our shot list. And we almost didn't lose anything. Like, I maybe like 2 or 3 shots that are not in the movie, but other than that, it's like built like this.
So it shows a lot of what the team that you put around you did to
Yeah.
be able to create this, not only because of time, but resources, but also the fact that obviously it was a group that you could trust. You brought up also about how influential your wife was.
Yeah.
When it came to the aspect of the occult, the prayer, design,
Yeah.
you're German. I mean, you're seeing a lot of different nationalities brought in on this project. Can you talk about having a crew and your wife influence you so much in creating this?
Oh yeah, I mean, of course that comes naturally because I love her, and she just
Yes,
became
dear.
the most important part of my life. And
Hey.
but, oh, so sorry, Dario.
I was waiting for that.
Man, that's hurts.
The most important part as an artist is figuring out what is your story that you tell, what you can tell, what is
Right.
your cosmos, like the people that are in your reach, the
Right.
people that are influencing you. Take from that, don't take from something you don't have any idea about. So when my wife and her Colombian heritage stepped into my life, I embraced it, and it's I thought of course, like, this is a completely new aspect to me. Like, yes, I want to do something with that. It's just respect your own cosmos, man, and take everything that just naturally comes to you.